the different tasks in the academic IELTS modules. We have dealt with listening and speaking previously. The videos are on our YouTube page for you to go have a look at if you need them. We have done the writing task 1, writing task 2, and then we've started all over again. We've done reading as well. If you go there, you see our previous videos that may be of help, so you are able to follow, with the class. And we have loads and loads of assignments that we have been doing. I must say that I'm impressed with the progress that we're making so far. The corrections is making sense. Corrections are making sense more than I expected. Thank you so much for attempting. Thank you for doing the task. It will help you to improve. I do hope that you get to, just write your test once and pass. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. So yes, it is IELTS writing task today. Where's everybody? Where are the members of the class? You're welcome on board. Welcome, welcome. Welcome on board. Uchenna, you are welcome, madam. Yeah, she's the first person in the class today.
Because I just finished my exam.
Ooh, what exam did you just finish?
I was writing my semester exam.
Oh, okay. So now you have more time for your studies, right? For the IELTS, right?
Yes, not really, because I have one semester to finish. Okay. And I have projects, seminars, experience, community experience to go for.
I know when you are doing the writing of your projects, I am sure that the IELTS that you're doing is actually going to be of help to you. I can assure you that one. That's because when you start the writing task, it's not just going to be for IELTS, but it will help to improve your writing generally. I have also noticed that in my own, experience, I'm talking from experience now. I've been writing for some time, writing stories, writing things. There are books that I'm working on. I discovered that with my IELTS training and teaching, I have improved, in my paragraphing. I have improved in the English, the grammar of my writing generally. And it's a good thing that you see yourself improve over the time, over the years or over the months, and you're happy with it. So yeah, it's going to help you, I bet. So how has your exams been?
I thank God. It has been wonderful.
Okay, that's good. So welcome to the class. Congratulations and all the best. Yep.
Thank you, ma.
So yes, Gift Imonita. Oh, have I seen this name before? Gift, you are welcome to the class. Can you please kindly put on your video as soon as you get into this class, because it's one of our requirements. If you are joining the class, it's a visual class where we want that you should have your videos on. Christiana, welcome on board. Good afternoon from this side of the world to you. Okay. So we continue from where we stopped. Okay. So we've been talking in the last 2 or 3 classes, we've been discussing writing task 1. We've done graph, line graph. We've done process graph. We've been able to talk about the maps. We were discussing the last class we had on Saturday. We talked about single and double map, and we had an example. and you were given some assignments. I told us to go, all the screenshots that we took, we should write them as tasks. Well, I have not seen any of that. It's fine, take your time. Just make sure that your brain is absorbing all of the corrections so that you're writing the same thing. Olubukola, if you put on your video, please, that would really be nice. If you are in this class, we have a rule, and every member of this class, if this is not your first time, you will know that we have a rule. And even if this is your first time, if you have actually gone through, what we send as per our rules and regulations, the process for you to join this class, you will find out that one of the requirements is that you have your video on. Without your video switched on, I may be forced to take you out of the class because it's a visual class. So please, your videos should be on. If you are joining us for the first time, I want you to know that in the course of our teaching here, in the course of our learning, we do like classworks. So there's no shyness here, there's no shame. Nobody is, the best, nobody is the worst. We are all here to learn, and in an environment where learning takes place, we all know that there could be a bright student, there could be a dull student, but at the end of the day, learning takes place and there is transformation, okay, for someone who was on the low side to move to step up, and that's the purpose of learning. So, if you're asked a question, don't feel embarrassed. Don't say, she's picking on me. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just trying to see how we can help ourselves, okay? So that you will come up. In fact, most of the tasks that we do, and you hear me saying, you talk about this, you impromptu, is to help your speaking tasks as well. Because if you don't speak, you won't know where you make mistakes, all right? It's until you say it out. They said, when you alone stay and you think you are the best until you meet people, and then you speak and you are not the best. So it's good that we have a mixture, okay, a combination of things that will help us to pass the IELTS exam, not just me coming here, read what is there for you, or go and study one thing somewhere, hear people's experiences and stories about IELTS, study IELTS, and just come and download to you, read to you without involving you. Part of the tactics and the requirements for being a good teacher is your ability to involve your students in what you're doing. All right. So yeah, there's group participation, there's classwork, there's group participation, and there's so much learning going on here. Sometimes I still go back to watch the videos and I'm like, oh, we're doing a great job. To some extent, we are. Thanks to you for joining the class, for participating and making it fun. It's full of excitement when we talk to ourselves and we make corrections. So yeah, let's get back to business. Enough of the stories. Today, we will just recap on what happened last week. In our last lesson, really, we did a task about a map. We did the single map. In the single map, we saw where there was a site there were two sites for one particular thing. There was the suggested site for a camping ground, and then we're able to do that task in the class. We did a process graph as well. All right. And we have studied over this period that whatever your task is, your ability to, follow the structure on ground, putting into consideration your band descriptors is what would determine whether you are able to pass this exam or not. We have what we call band descriptors for the writing task. Comes both in your writing task 1 and 2. That's the basis for which you are rated and you're graded and you're given your band at the end of the day. There are 4 of them really. We have task completion and accomplishment or response. We have our lexical resource. We have coherence and cohesion, and then grammatical range and accuracy. These things are looking for different things. I mean, the band descriptors, there are different things that make them up in each of the tasks, either writing task 1 or 2. And for writing task 1 that we are looking at, for your task completion, task achievement and response or completion, depending on what you call it, is your ability to finish up the task. And I can't say you have finished up the task when your writing is less than 150 words. We say that you should be able to write up to 150 words, not less than that. Slightly above that would be good for you to be on the safe side, maybe 170, 160 thereabout. And please don't write too much, because when you write too much, errors are always present in your writing. We talked about our coherence and cohesion, being that your work to have like a logical flow where there is a flow of idea from one thing to the other. You're not scattered, your work has this connection, and then you are able to use the cohesive devices to join your work together to make it make sense to people or to someone who is reading without necessarily having to ask you any question. All right. And we also know about the lexical resource, where we made mention of our vocabularies and our grammatical range and accuracies, talking about your punctuations, talking about your sentence formations, and where I advise that we use more of complex sentences, simple and complex mixed together, using your cohesive devices. Okay. And the structure of the writing task generally is such that you have three paragraphs. The first paragraph will be like what we call your overall statement with the general statement. Some call it introduction. Well, I don't give it a name. I just want you to have the information in the first paragraph. And what information are you expected to have? In your first paragraph, you're supposed to have, a paraphrase of the first question prompt, all right, the assignment you have been given to do. For writing task one, you have a paraphrase of the question prompt and an overall statement. Now, a paraphrase of your question prompt will come from you underlining the keywords, identifying them, knowing the meaning, and then replacing them with other words called synonyms, such that you are able to make a statement, all right, different from what the person has made or from what is documented or written for you, but you have not changed the meaning, all right, of the statement. You have not changed the meaning from the original statement. You do this by using what we call synonyms, and you use the accurate synonyms, because we come to understand that there are synonyms that may not be used in some contexts. So you need to identify what synonyms are going to be used for this particular one. And then we move to the second body, the second paragraph. Second paragraph, then the third paragraph. Now, the second and the third paragraph are dependent on the task, kind of task that you have been given to do. For example, where you have a graph that is talking about two variables, we have advised that you should write about one variable in the first paragraph and then write about the second variable in the second paragraph. When you have a process graph, for instance, we have advised that a process graph, a process map, a process whatever it is, a process task, okay, like an organogram, like the production of something, like a process in the making of something, is that how you should answer that kind of question in your second and third paragraph is for you to get, the overall. After you have gotten your overall, which is from the whole of the steps put together, you make mention of it, and then you go to your second paragraph. That second paragraph and third paragraph should be everything about the whole of the process. And I did mention that you can split the whole work into two, split the processes into two, get an ideal or a logical start point, all right, and then get an end point as well. Now, in the middle of it is where you should stop with one of the paragraphs and then continue from there. We have also discussed words that are used, phrases that are used in relation to all of the tasks that we have discussed so far. All right. For the structure as well, for maybe like where you have a double map, okay, you have been given a double map, it is advisable that you write about these maps, comparing them. So you need to work out your work in such a way that what am I going to discuss in paragraph 2, what am I going to discuss in paragraph 3. Okay. And then in a place where you have what else have we talked about? A line graph, and the rest of them. We talked about the words. Yeah, I was coming to that. The phrases and the words, the descriptive, sentences or phrases that you need for the explanation of certain tasks. For instance, you have a graph. We have words like decline, like decrease, for when there's a reduction or when something goes down, when there's a plunge. And we have words like maybe like it peaked where it got to the highest point. All right. We have words like and what else? Stable, or fluctuated, or oscillated, all right, or it remained the same to describe your graph depending on the way the graph is. And then we have words like when you are discussing a process graph, for example, if you want to start your second paragraph now, first body paragraph, you can use words like to begin with. The first process is, to start with, the beginning of the process, phrases like that. And then to go for the second side of it, you can use words like subsequently, consequently, followed by, the next step, the next stages. Those words, you need to make good use of them because they are actually your cohesive devices, as you will not have too much of however, therefore, furthermore, and the rest of them. You don't have so much of them in your writing tax one. All right. So we talked about our maps was the last thing that we discussed. We have discussed a single map. We have discussed a single map, and we have talked slightly, I think, about a double map. Have we discussed a double map? Yes, we have discussed the double map. I remember where we talked about the map of a town called Harbourne, the changes, yes, the changes that occurred there. So I did say that there are two maps. Ordinarily, you will be tempted to pick one of the map and discuss, then go to the second. But here, for maps like this, you are actually meant to make comparisons, okay? Because the question says, selecting and reporting the main features, and then make comparisons where relevant. And it's talking about changes, talking about transformation. It's talking about buildings that were erected, structures that were destroyed or removed. It's talking about things that have increased or decreased in size. Okay, so if you're talking about those kind of changes, you actually know you're making a comparison when you have two graphs. Now, when you have your graph, your maps generally, I did mention of one very important thing. I talked about what? Who will remind me? That I said is very important for your description. Let me ask now. Who was in class last week? Deborah was not in class last week. Gift, you were not in class last week. The last class we had. Uchenna, what did I say is very important in the description of your map? That for you to describe a map. I can't hear you. When I unmute you, just help me by accepting on your screen. Okay?
Hello? Yes, ma, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said that we should try and note the things that are, the changes that occurred in the previous one.
Okay, that's
important. Where person
but
making the comparisons.
That's very important. But there's one thing I said is very, very important that you work with. What is that? Anyone remember? Or we're just joking in this class? We're just playing. Amaka, you were in class last week.
No, I was not. That was on a Saturday. I was in a wedding. I didn't come to class.
So I'm bad.
But
I went to dance.
I tried looking at the video, but I couldn't finish it because I had to go to work. So I'm still listening to the Saturday.
No problem.
Work,
no worries. Who was in class? Where are all the people? Where are all the regular customers? Where is Sufianu? Where is Gift? Have they written their exam? Have they codedly written their exam? We do things codedly in our country, especially in where I come from. I know everybody is not from my country, but everybody is like from Africa. Where I come from, we do things codedly. You don't have to say it out so that village people will not follow you. Yeah. Deborah, I know you have been in this class before. Have you not been in this class before? Obagai.
Yeah, I'm not that regular, ma.
Yeah, were you here? Did you listen to anything about maps in this class? Have you watched on video or something?
No, I didn't watch the video. Actually,
Okay.
I ran out of data over the weekend, so I was unable to.
Sorry, that's why you should move. Write to exam and move. Wi-Fi everywhere here. Wi-Fi. Yes, please. Uche. Christiana, yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm not using, but I think you said we should make sure that all the pictures in the map, that we should ensure that we touch everything and not leave anyone, any changes that occurred. We shouldn't leave anyone at all. We should pick how small it is, we should pick it and talk about it.
Good. Thank you. There's one familiar face that I want to catch before I say the answer. It's coming in. Ganiat. Good afternoon, ma. You are welcome to the class. Okay, so tell us, what was it that I said is very, very important that you make use of in your description of maps?
You mentioned the compass.
Thank you. Clap for yourself. Okay, so now we remember, yeah? Now we remember. I did mention that even all your answers are correct, but without the map, you can't give me, without the compass, you can't give me a proper description. I said you should include everything in the map. Yes, you are going to include everything, but how do you tell me where and where it is located? Do you get the logic now? Okay, I did mention that you should, as much as possible, all of you were correct with what you were saying, but you can't have a correct and an accurate answer without the use of the map. I told you that as soon as you find your question and it's on map, first thing, look for your compass. That compass in your eye, bring it to the middle of your map like this. Let it be in the middle. Then you will have your north up, south down, east and west. Don't worry, if you are facing me, our east and west to be different as you are facing me now. All right, so where my east is where your own west will be. Do you understand? That's because if I turn to be like you now, it will be on the same side, so don't worry about that. But irrespective of where you're facing in an exam or wherever you're facing, your east and your west. Do we understand? Yeah. So if you have that, it will help your explanation and your description of the map. The accuracy of location gives you very high marks. That way, your examiner can just have a look at the map. Let me tell you, it's not that they studied the question and they know the answer. Examiners don't study the question and know the answer. What they work by is the band descriptors. As soon as they get your question, for instance, they start counting the words. Are the words up to 150? Is it less than 150? It's what they are looking for. As they are reading, is your grammar, did you make so many errors? Your grammatical range and accuracies. They are looking for your descriptive devices, your cohesive devices. They are looking for northwest, north, south, east. You know, they are looking for transformation, words like, they are looking for synonyms of what they have. They will just read the question and then they know the synonyms. They know many synonyms that can be used. So what they do is they just look at your own answer and rate you. That is all. Not like they have written a question. They have a question and they have written the answer down. And that's why, especially in writing, you see people's writing when they apply for remarks. Some will go up, definitely, and some will reduce. It usually may not, it's not often though, from the ones I've heard, may not come back the same way. It's either it goes up a step or it comes down a step. That's because they do not have a particular or a typed, like in nursing council now, nursing council exam, they type the marking scheme. if you did nursing final year, where you start looking for marking scheme to compare, you know there are particular words. When you're talking about the liver, you're talking about the size that is located towards the right side, it has how many lobes and all of that. Or you're describing the stomach, you're saying the walls of the stomach, you have the mucosa, you have, like the muscle and all of that. If it is bam, bam, it is what it is. But for them, they don't have a typed marking scheme, because you are expected to be diverse, and they don't expect everybody to give them the same answer. But nursing council, if we are 20,000 that wrote council exam, for us all to pass, we must all have the same answer. Although different words in between, but the same key points must be there. Am I correct? So the examiners don't have that in the IELTS. And that's the reason why you must be vast. You must be vast. And that's the reason why, even if me and you write the same thing in the exam, it doesn't matter. They won't say I copied you or you copied me. Because the security in the exam hall is even so tight that you can't even talk. Especially during the listening test. If you drop a pin, I tell you the truth, you hear the sound of it. If you drop a pin, everywhere is calm. So what am I saying? They are looking for certain words. They have an idea of what those words are. They have a record of the kind of words that you should use. So anyone you choose to use from among these words is what they are going to rate you on. In other words, by your presentation, they judge you. By your writing, they judge you. They don't have their own standard or their own written whatever. They just have like the descriptors to rate you on. So why am I saying this? So that you will not go and, fumble in the exam. IELTS that you're studying now is not for knowledge sake. Somebody said, Joy, I like the class that you're offering and all of that. I like to take it. I say, well, if you want to study English language, just study English. Just read English and try to improve, But for IELTS, it's specific because it's for a specific purpose. It's not just because you want to attend an English class now, you just come to the IELTS class. So yeah. We have a rule, please. If you're in our class, Bukola, Matthew, please put on your videos. Thank you. So, your compass, use your compass to describe your maps. It's just the same way that I told you that words like decline, increase, decrease, dramatically increase, remain stable are related to graphs. The same way I said, first step is, second step is, followed by next to, consequently, subsequently, are related to process maps or process graphs or whatever. That is the way the compass is the life of your map. People have had so many maps in recent times. That is the way the graph, what am I saying? The compass is used for your maps. So you need to take note of that. All right. So we finished with the map and we were to move to something else. The next one will be a floor map. We will have a floor map. A floor map. So how do we describe a floor map? When you have a floor map, it's also talking about changes. It's also talking about the use of the compass. If you can't use the compass, it's talking about the use of, locations like you may not necessarily find, in fact, you won't find a compass. But if you use it, you will not be penalized. You have places like top, bottom, right, and left. Top right, bottom right, top left, bottom left. Now, for floor maps, you can find a floor map where there has been changes as well, just like the maps. They'll give you 2 floor maps to discuss. And the floor maps can be like a before or an after thing. It can be a pre and post. Maybe there's a particular thing that happened, all right? Maybe a building was renovated. If a building was renovated and the inside of the building, they are trying to describe it to you, they'll tell you the way it was before the renovation, And then after the renovation, the way it is now. So what are we expected to do when we have a task that has to do with floor map? Remember what we said. Identify keywords, get synonyms for them, paraphrase question prompt. Okay? Identify your keywords, get the synonyms, paraphrase the question prompt. Sorry, this is a bit important, so yeah, I'll respond to it later. So yeah, you paraphrase the question prompt and then you make your overall statement. That will give you your first paragraph. When you have a floor map, identify keywords, paraphrase with the synonyms, and then write an overall statement. That will give you your first paragraph. I think you have heard enough of this thing in such a way that you should be able to just think about it, bam, as soon as we talk. Then what do? If there's a compass, make use of it. If there's no compass, please use your head, like I said, top, bottom, left, right, okay? You need to look for a dividing feature, what separates it in the first place if there's no compass. You look for any area in this map that you have been given, the floor map that you have been given. Are there they will write the names of the areas, they write them there. Are there areas where there are no names at all? Remember I told you can name it what you want to name it when there is no name. For instance, you see a place and you see a sign of toilet seat, or you see a sign of somebody standing doing a wee. You know those signs in toilets, in public toilet areas. You see male and female signs, you should know that this is male and female toilet. So yeah, those kind of signs, when they are not labeled, you give it a name in your mind. All right, like places like windows, like, like shower, where you have the shower sign and there is no label for it. You can do that, you can write that as the bathroom or as the shower. You need to get a logical start point, just like your process graph. Where am I going to start this thing from? I'll divide it into two. Now I have the beginning. I have one here and I have the other one. I'm to write about the changes that has taken place. I'm to compare. All right. Remember when we're writing about changes, we're talking about sizes. We're talking about a shift in their locations. Some things will still be in the map, but they have moved location. Maybe it was located on the north, now it's on the east or on the southern side of the map. So yeah, you're talking about locations, the shifts, you're talking about the transformations that has taken place. So for each of the map, you need to get a logical start point, all right? Maybe usually the entrance of the place, or if you want to start from the back or the front, usually you see like a back and front exit, okay, a back and front entrance, okay, where the back is the exit and the front is the entrance, all right? So yeah, you can use the access, that's the accesses, you can use them, either the front access or the back access, you can start with them. You look for logical middle point for the map so that you can separate the data into paragraphs in the body of your report. Look for logical middle point. Look for a start point, remember, then look for a middle point, because you are going to be writing in paragraphs. So you need to identify which and which am I going to write in my first paragraph, which and which am I going to write in my second paragraph. Do we understand? Fine. So you will try as much as possible. You can decide to label or number your key points, okay, so that you make sure you don't miss out any of these features when you write your report. You can number the key points so you don't miss out anyone. That's a plan for you to be really detailed about your report. Then you plan the structure of your work, how your data is going to be grouped, how your report is going to be written. One, remember we have an introduction. Then remember we have a first body paragraph and a second body paragraph. Then in that body paragraph, what and what information are we going to be writing? You need to work that out. Then you go ahead with the writing of your report. Who does not understand this explanation before we do the task? I don't understand the explanation before we go ahead with the writing of the task. Is there anyone that does not understand? Miriam, your video is off. Marian, sorry. You don't understand this information about the writing that we just explained. Do you all understand? Yes. Now we are going to do a task. I'll be sharing my screen with you as usual. I advise that you take a screenshot and that in those Cambridges that we are using in this class for description, for the purpose of this learning, you can find similar questions there. Use, the model that we're using in this class to answer those questions and see how well you're doing. I also found out that some people have gotten like a device for downloaded or something that when you do your writing, the device is able to score you and make some corrections. If you can all have access to that, it will help you. It will help you a great deal. Nothing is 100% accurate. Nothing is 100% accurate. But when you have corrections from here and there, it will help you to improve. And at the end of the day, just make your band. That's what we want, isn't it? So let me see. Let's share the screen. Ooh, it's gone too bold. I need to make it bigger so you can all see. Okay. Yeah, there we have it. Can you see my screen now? Take a screenshot so that you can write it later. The floor map shows the changes that were made to a house over a 6-month period, meaning that the before 6 months previously, this was the way the house was. And 6 months after, this is the way the house is. Who can tell me what kind of task is this over a 6 months period? Uchenna. What kind of task is this?
It's a floor map.
What kind of task is it? We generally discuss writing task 1. What kind of task 1 is this?
Double map.
Is this a static task or a changeover time period, that kind of task?
The changeover.
How is it a changeover? Can you explain that?
Because the before, there is before and after, and there are some changes over the 2 maps.
This is actually a static task. Okay. I told us that it is a period of time. It is not a change that happened from 1 month to 6 months. It's not a period. It's just 6 months, and this is the changes. 6 months is static. 2007 is static. But when I say from 2001 to 2017, it's a change over time. It means that I have other variables to show in 2002, in 2003, in 2004, in 2005, up to 2017. I have variables. Do you understand? But here,
Yes,
I just have two things telling me how it was before and how it is now. You don't understand, do you? Who else thinks otherwise? You think it's a static or is a change over time kind of task?
Because it might take a lot of time before the 6 months now,
6
before the
months.
change occurred.
6 months.
Yes.
When we did a task in 2007, the things that happened in 2007 with a particular group of people, was that a change over time period or a static task?
I didn't get the question, ma.
Where we did a task about the things that Australian children love to do, their favorite activities in 2007. Was that a static task or a change over time?
It was change over time.
Was static.
That means I've been getting it wrong.
Yes. That means you need to go back and watch the video again.
Okay,
That's
ma.
your assignment. So this is
Yes,
actually a static task. Although nobody is going to ask you that, I just want you to know that it's something that happened 6 months, 2007. It didn't happen there's no statistics, there's no data for month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6. So it is not change over time. It's something that is just like we have for the Australian children, Australian kids. If you follow that example that we used when we did our change over time kind of period. So if you take map A or the before map to be the Australians, you take the second after to be the New Zealanders. And then you have the changes, the different variables. Okay, now you have a bedroom that is larger on one side and a bedroom that is smaller on the other side. And remember in that example, we had like computer games, we had arts and crafts that had different scores or that had different amounts, okay, different percentages in the participation for the children. So this thing is the same kind of variables. So if you take these variables, meals, kitchen, living room, bath, row, bedroom, okay, entry, veranda, as the variables, then you take it as the variables on the other side as well, and then you are able to know that it is a static form of task because there is no chart for month 1. This is the change that happened in month 2 or in month 3 or 4. So you're not going to be comparing months 1 to 6, but you are comparing the changes that happened in this particular period, how there was a transformation from this to this, and that's it. Anyway, that's not what we are doing. What we are going to do today is for you to write me a plan, write me a task for this particular question. All right, the question is showing you a map, it's showing you a floor map. Okay, there's been changes, there's been transformation, there's been additions, and there's been removals, there have been erections of different whatever. There has been increases, all right, in some places where some areas have lost their original size. Some things have been removed actually. Okay, if you have a look at all of them, the way to do it quickly is to count how many variables are here and how many variables are here. Then you compare the two variables and see what is not on this one or what is not on that one. That way you have gotten 1 or 2 differences and you're going to write about it. Do you understand? For example, merely looking at this, I can see that the meal area has been changed from where it was to another place on the after. I can see that the living area is still remaining the same, but that the barrier between the living area and the kitchen has been taken out, and the meal area has a direct connection now with the living area. I can see that the kitchen has shifted place, more like the kitchen and the living and the meals have exchanged, their places. Isaac, I'm home, you can come home, yeah? All right. Sorry.
I can't hear them.
Can you hear me? Just looking at this, what I was explaining, looking at this, you can also see that on one of the maps, I'm leaving it to you to identify it yourself. On one of the maps, or on almost on the other map, the robe area, the places for robe have been taken out. There's no robe in the other map, in the after. There's no robe, and so the bed on one of the sides have been merged with the robe. The size still relatively remains the same on that side. The other bed has reduced in size, even though the robe had been taken away. The robe is now converted into a bath, and the bath there is bigger than it was on the other map. The entry also has been shifted. There was a veranda on the before, but on the after, there's no veranda. So the veranda is collapsed and is melted with the entry. Do we understand? Or am I speaking Latin? You know, I see your faces very well. Am I speaking Latin? Or the Igbo person is feeling like I'm speaking Yoruba that she or he has no idea about. So you are lost. I'm describing the same map that all of us are looking at like this same floor plan. That's what we are looking at. Okay. Do you see these mills where my cursor is? Where is it now? It's here. Is it in the same position? Did you see this bed here? Did you see this bed here? The bedroom here? Did you see this robe? It's actually been converted. It's been merged with the bath. It's been taken out, really. The robe has been taken out and added to the bedside, and the bath also has increased in size from what I can see. There was a veranda here. In the after, there's no veranda. There was a robe here. In the after, there's no robe. This makes the bed bigger. Okay. The kitchen has shifted position. More like it's taken up now, all right, from where it was, nearly central, to another position. Then the meals came down. And then there's a barrier here as well. This barrier between the living room and the kitchen has been taken off. So the meal area and the living room have similar access now. Do you understand? Are you seeing at all? What other changes can you see? I see that the bath is bigger. I see that the entry also has shifted. The entry was here. Now the entry has shifted position closer to where the veranda was before. And there's no longer veranda, it was taken away.
The living room merged with the meals.
Thank you. What else can you see? What other changes can you see? Now, there are features here that I want you to label for yourself. For instance, this place, I would say is a door. This is a door, this is a door, this is a door, this is a door. This is a door. Where there is a break, I would say this is a window. Okay, I'll say this is a window, this is a window, this is a window, and this is a window. So if I've labeled them like I told you, and you have labeled them as well, you can see that on the bed, for the bedroom, on the right side, the bottom side, the window is smaller in the after than it was in the other time. Okay. While in the before, still for the living room, the windows that were there before, the one at the entry and the one at the veranda, they have been merged. Have they not been merged?
Yes, ma'am.
See, they have been merged. Okay.
And the second bedroom has no window.
Exactly. But it had a window in the previous one that was close to the roof. Now there's no
Yes.
window here.
Yes.
There is still the window at the bath. It still remains the same, isn't it? It remains the same. The one at the bath. See, there's a window at the bath here.
Yes.
And there's still a window at the back
Yes.
here. All right. Then, although it's slightly smaller though, can you see? This window, this space here
Yes.
and this space here is slightly smaller, isn't it? But the window that was close to the kitchen, the meal area, before that is now converted to the kitchen, the window is now bigger than it was before. In the previous one, this is the size before, but this is the size now.
Man, there's another changes in the before. There is the door that extends from the meal area outside. There is a feature there, which is
This one.
It looks like a bench, or yes, the door after the meal area. The meal area.
Here.
Yes, the door that exits. Yes, there's a feature there.
Yeah.
Which is not in the after.
It's not here at all. So what do you want to name it?
Yes.
I'll call it a back exit.
Yeah, only.
Okay.
I'll call it an exit, the back of the house. So if that is it, then there's no longer exit. It is now just a window that is there. Okay.
I think the door is still there, but there's no pavement like before.
Oh, if you name it pavement,
there's no,
if you see, I told you can decide to name it anything. So you see now you have a name for it, that there's still an exit, but this pavement is no longer there.
Yes.
You need to mention it from your beginning that the mill area has an exit, all right, with a pavement in the before, but now the exit still there, it still exists, maintains its position, whatever word you want to use, but the pavement is no longer in place. Are you still seeing any changes?
Yes, in the bathroom.
What do you want to call it?
It looks like there's.
It is a bath.
Like a bathtub.
Like a bathtub.
Yes.
But now there's no bathtub. There's
and
now a
no
shower.
Longer...
You see these small things?
Yes, and a
shower.
Like a rack for the curtain, or what can I call it?
Goodness. This lady, are you an architect?
For towels.
No, ma.
So you see, these are the ideas I'm talking about. If you're able to come up with all of this and you write about it, you will have more than enough words. You would have written your 150 words. It's logical. And you see this meal area.
In the kitchen.
In the meal area.
There used to be some dining table. Now there's dining table now,
yes,
but there was no dining table here.
Before, yes.
Yeah, in the kitchen, it looks like there's a sink there. Okay.
Before. The sink is still here. Let's say the sink
has a sink. Yes, the sink. Yes. And it's now bigger. And
the sink is now a double sink.
Cozy again.
It's not like one. You see?
Yes.
You know the way double sink is. This one is now double sink with two tap heads. I can say it's two tap heads. Those two dots that I'm seeing in the middle. And it's now double, maybe hot and cold water. And then this one, it was just a big sink, single big sink that was there. You see, these are the changes that you will see. And then you go ahead and write your report. All right, so beginning from Ganiat. Oh yeah. Introduction. Give me the introduction. Give me the overall statement for this task. Yep, I can hear you. I'm waiting, no, Aeneas.
The development
Okay, go ahead. I didn't hear you well. There was a noise at the background. Now it's off. Sorry.
I said the diagram shows the development that are taking place. So as within a period of 6 months.
Good. Overall.
Overall,
Okay, you have tried. Everybody get on your writing pad. Write and post to all an overall statement for this task. Your time starts now. You have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. No, the card is in. Okay. What do we have? Only one person submitted. What's happening? Send it. Your time is up. Send whatever you have written. Don't send to me privately. You send it to the class. Let's see more, please. Okay. Is it just one person or two people that wrote? Why am I not seeing them? What's happening? Tower, where's your work?
I'm just joining now, ma.
Welcome. Amaka? Okay, I like this.
I've sent already.
Yeah, found it. Yeah. Good, good, good. All right. So we did our work in the class, and some people did not do the work. It's fine. I've seen it. I've seen what you have written. It's quite impressive, though. It is noticeable that various renovations have taken place. Okay. It's a good thing that you know it's renovation, transformation, development. I'm just looking for some keywords, though. Okay, removed. Element, why some are completely removed. Despite the renovation, the house still retains most of its fundamental elements. Like what? Why some are completely removed. All right. I like to say three things in that overall statement. I want you to mention that overall, what you see, the thing you see that has been removed, one of it. The thing you see that has increased in size, one of it. And the thing you see that was included, that was not there before, but is now included. So what has changed in size? What has increased? What has changed in location? Yes. And what was removed? What was removed? What has changed in size? And what has changed in location? Overall, the kitchen was relocated while maintaining its size. Okay. And what was removed completely? What is that was not there at all? The bathtubs, the ropes were taken out completely. This is because if you are able to say something like this, your examiner It gives the examiner an idea of what to look for in your general write-up. The examiner will be waiting for you to discuss the things that have changed position, to discuss the things that have changed in sizes, and to discuss the things that were not there. And this is actually what makes up the whole of this task. The whole of this task, we have seen that some things were taken out, some positions were changed, and some were increased or taken to, some were increased in sizes, in their size, in their original size. So while you are discussing your location using top, here, there's no map here. There's no compass. So if you want to use your compass, make sure you draw your compass well and you know what specifically is in what position or in what region. If you are using top, bottom, center, top right, bottom right, top left, bottom left, if that's what you're using, it's fine. I like the overall statements you have all written, but you need to increase it. You need to make it richer. You need to be more specific with your information. You need to be more specific with your information. Okay? Does it make sense to anybody? Does it make sense? Does the explanation make sense to anybody? Or you think it's too much information?
It does.
So when you do that, it's now left for the examiner to pick whatever he or she wants. Like I usually tell you, there's no too much information. Don't say, is it everything that we mentioned here? So what am I now going to write in paragraphs, in the body paragraphs? You are not writing extensively. You are not talking about their sizes. You are not talking about specific things, information. You are just mentioning that this and this and this is what you have seen, is what you have noticed. And your overall statement, like I used to tell you, is what you can see as you open your eyes and you see the task like this. This is what you can note. It's like a summary that this map, there are two of them, before and the after. There are different things that has happened or different things labeled here. But what I can see here is that the kitchen has changed its position. Okay, the bedrooms, some of them have increased in sizes and the robes have been taken out completely. Then you can now go into detailed explanation. When we have done this, how do we locate a logical point to start from? How do we start? If I was writing the task, I can decide to start from the entry. From the entry. And from that entry, where I have the doors that led into the living room, from the entry point, you move forward a bit, you have the doors that led to the other places. All of them are somehow connected to the entry from that veranda side. So if I start from the veranda in my first paragraph, and as I'm mentioning that in the other one, I can decide to say in before or after. I can decide to list it to name them A and B, so that you are not confused with your information and data. When you are talking about the north, for instance, we talk about top, bottom, right? So if you go to the top, or maybe to the top left, that's where you want to, after mentioning the entry, then the living room. The living room here has increased in size or it has decreased in size, whatever the change you have seen is. We saw that it was merged with the meal area, and there is now a dining set almost in the middle, not directly in the middle of the living area, while the kitchen has shifted position to where the meal area used to be. If you move to the bedrooms, you can say, talk about the robes that were taken away, that in the before or in floor map A or in the plan A, there were this and this and this, the robes were there, at so and so position? Is it north? Is it north central? Is it top? Is it bottom? Is it center? Is it on the left or on the right? You mention it. They have completely been phased out and now merged with, one of them is merged with the bedroom on what side? Mention the side with the bedroom. Then there is now like a bath, generally constructed. The bathtub has been taken out. Abi, there's no bathtub in the other one anymore. There's no bathtub, so the place is now like a flat place, like just a normal area, an open place used for bath. You can mention with rack on the wall for hanging sponge or whatever, for probably for anything. Now, you talk about what other thing? About the windows. We mentioned the windows. I told you that you can label anything that is not labeled. So you now talk about the windows that have changed, the ones that maintain their position, okay, and the ones that were totally blocked. Remember to mention the barrier that was between the living area and the kitchen and the meal side that has now been taken out in the plan B or in the new plan. You see, you can use plan A, plan B, you can use the old and the new plan, okay? You can use the updated and the old, or you can use the former and the renovated. You can use the former and the latter. You see that you have synonyms already to choose from, such that you don't have to repeat yourself several times, because repetition is not a good thing. It reduces your marks, actually. So your brain needs to click, what word can I use? What word can I not use? That way, if you say that I'm starting from the veranda side here, talking about this and this, and then these are the points I'm going to discuss in my first body paragraph. That's my second paragraph for the day. And this is what I'm going. So on your sheet of paper in the exam hall, for example, you can just note what point you want to discuss first, then the points to discuss last. That way, you will not miss out on any of the points. You'll be able to discuss, to pick all of them and say something about them. So if, for instance, like I told you, you have 5 points or 4 points, 4 things to write each, meaning that you have 4 paragraphs, 4 sentences, using your cohesive devices, you link these sentences together, you have good paragraphs. And if you have good paragraphs 1, 2, and 3, your words definitely will be more than 150. So for your task achievement, you have mentioned everything about the task. You have done the task accordingly by writing in accordance to the word count. You have written up to 150, which you are expected to. And you have used the structure. When you have your introduction, body paragraph 1 and 2, you have 3 paragraphs all in all. So at the end of the day, you score the band for the task completeness, task completion, task achievement, task response. Then it's now left for your grammar, grammatical range and accuracies, your sentence formations, the use of words, error-free sentences. Okay? When you talk about the cohesive devices for this kind of map is where you are talking about the locations, followed by adjacent to the window is this and this and this, that is now converted to or that has remained the same or that has increased in size. Opposite this is this, and those are the words that you are going to be using for your description. Do we understand? Does anyone understand my point? Yes, you do. So what will I be saying? If I want to, let me be looking at the map while I'm describing it. So if I want to start, I can say the given plan, okay, the floor map. Okay, the illustration reviews, shows the modifications that has occurred at a residential place, because this should be a residential place, or in a house, all right, or in a building. Overall, there has been notable changes or transformation or development in the internal walls or in the inside of the building. For instance, I've brought in a cohesive device. For instance, the kitchen area, overall, some things have increased in size, some were totally removed, while others, what are the three things we mentioned again? Totally removed, increase in size, and change position. I've changed position. Then you can say kitchen, this and this respectively. You have your overall statement. Now, if I'm going to start from the entry, I'll say beginning from the entry point to the house. If you have the diagram, I still do have the diagram. Around the middle area, I'm talking about the changes that has occurred now. The barrier, like a porch, is no longer there in the new plan, or in the after, or in plan B, or in the renovated plan. In addition, when I move to, yeah?
Please, ma, share the map again. I don't have it.
Okay, let me, I have to increase the size before I share it. Just give me a minute, please.
Ma, also repeat the overall.
You want me to repeat the overall statement?
Yes, ma.
Do you have to copy my own overall, or you have to write your own? Oh, it's too big now. Let's bring it down small. Okay. Share screen. Take a screenshot so that you can have it while we discuss. Have you done that? Ifunanya, have you taken a screenshot? Everybody has a screenshot, right? All right.
I'm taking it, ma.
Good, thank you. Okay. She wants me to repeat the overall statement. But did you understand up to the point I got to the overall statement? Who is asking for a repetition of the overall statement? Cynthia, is that you? Or is confidence?
Ma, is it for Anya?
It's safe for Naya. So overall, before, remember that you don't start with overall. Can you paraphrase it? Can you do the paraphrasing, or you want me to do everything? Paraphrase it. The floor plan below showed the changes that were made to a house over a 6-month period. It told us it's a house. So if I say it's a residential building, it's not wrong, is it? A residential building or a living area, okay, or to an accommodation, okay, or to a flat. Do you understand? You have synonyms. if Naya, we discussed that when you see a question like this, what you do first is to mark your key points, your keywords, identify what your keywords are, and then get synonyms for these keywords. When you get the synonyms for the keywords, then you go ahead to paraphrase the keywords. When you paraphrase you paraphrase the whole statement using the keywords that you have gotten as per the synonyms. After that, you now put a full stop and write your overall statement. Your overall statement is what you can see, what you can note from just merely looking at this. Merely looking at it. Merely looking at this picture, I can see now that the kitchen has shifted position. So it means that some things have been relocated from where they were before to a new place. I can see that there's no rope anymore. It means that some things were completely removed. Okay. I can also see that the windows have increased in sizes depending on the area I'm looking at. If you look at the windows, the one from the veranda, where the veranda was before, you will find out that there were two windows there. One is on the veranda side and one is on the entry side, where the entry is directly. It's been merged. So both of them have been merged and it's now bigger. Then if you check very well again, the window on the bedroom in the before, bedroom, the one that is on the bottom, all right, or the one on the south, not south, yeah, on the south side, you find out that the size has now reduced compared to what it was before. The meal area also has changed position. So kitchen changed position, meal area changed position. It means certain things have changed position. Windows reduced in size. It means that certain things are reduced in size. Rope was removed completely, and windows were also merged to form a bigger one. So which means that there are different information I can use as my overall statement here. I can decide to choose two, and if I find words enough that will make it more precise, I can decide to include three. So overall, there have been notable development or notable changes to the house. For instance, some items like the kitchen and meal area has shifted position, while some of the windows were merged, and some things removed from the new plan, completely removed or completely taken out. I have that as my overall statement, Ifunanya. And I have a complete paragraph there now, which is my first paragraph. Now, if I go over to, remember the structure of the writing task one where I said, all in all your information, put them all in 3 paragraphs. Your overall statement, which is what we just did, should be 1 paragraph. Then you get, for this kind of task, depending on the task you are given, if you have a graph, you can decide to discuss the variables, discuss variable 1 and variable 2. Variable 1 in 1 paragraph, variable 2 in the other paragraph. If you have like a floor map like what we have now, you need to get a logical start point. And I've identified my own logical start point as the entry, because there is both entry in the 2 of them. Okay, I've decided to choose the entry point because the entry appears on both of them. So once I gain access into the house, I can now see the changes that has taken place. The entry has shifted, beginning from the entry or looking at the entry point, it has moved position upwards a little bit. And after that, the porch area, like the lobby area, if you check, you know, a house where there are different doors, the place where those doors meet, like it's a small area, it's called a lobby or a porch. So if I say the porch area, okay, still remains, the porch area remains and grants access, all right, to other places, to the other rooms or to the other areas in this building or in this house. I'm now going to go towards my left. So if I choose the entry point and I enter into the house, then I face my left, I discuss what is on the bottom left first, then move to the top. Then I go over to my right, discuss what is on the bottom right, and then move to the top. If you notice, the porch is in the center. Okay, so on the top left, I have the meal area close to it. I've got 2 points. I have a window there. And in the new building now, the window is now bigger. I have a back door or like an exit where somebody mentioned that there was a pavement. There was a pavement in the previous one, so there's no pavement in this one now. Part of your synonyms that you can use is previous and current. You know, as we talk and discuss, these things flow, they come in. So in the previous one, there was a pavement at the exit, okay, at the back, which happens to be top left. For me, for you, it's top right because you are facing me. Top right or top left. And then I also have, what else is on that top left? Moving a little bit towards the center, I can see that the window there is a bit smaller now, moving towards the right. The window has been reduced. It has reduced in size, okay? And there's no longer window on the, so you see the way I'm going. I've started from the living area, discussed it. Now I'm moving to this side. So if I divide this whole thing into two like this from the middle, because I need 2 paragraphs, I'm going to choose to write about the living area, the kitchen, the meal area, that exit in that side, and the window on this side as my first paragraph. Then I come over to this side, still beginning from the entry, while on the other side of the building, on the right side of the building for me now, I now have the robe has been merged, okay, with the bedroom. So the bedroom is now bigger and the window is smaller. The window on the bottom, the bottom right is smaller. The entry still remains the same. Oh, the entry has increased. The door is now wider than it used to be. If you have your diagram with you. In fact, almost all the doors are wider than they used to be in that lobby, almost all the doors. Okay, and then you also notice that there's now a door from the bath. There was a barrier from the bath before, in the before one, a barrier cutting an area that is unlabeled, there's nothing there. That area is now a door or like an entry again. Now, the bed on the right, on the top right, the bedroom area on the top right is now merged with the rope that was there, making the bedroom to increase in size. The window was taken out, all right? The bathroom is no longer there. There's now a bath. The bath area is bigger than it was before. And then the window is now slightly smaller than it was before. I'll finish discussing this diagram. Did you notice that I finished discussing the diagram? I said get a logical start point. The logical start point in this diagram is the entry point, because there are entry in both of them and the entry seems to be in the middle. I've divided it into 2 because I need to make 2 paragraphs out of this. I decided to start from the downside, talking about the living area, moving upwards to where the table was, where there was no table, now there's a table, talking about the change in the position of the kitchen and the meal area, the exchange of, location there. I moved over to that side where there's an exit, okay, where the window is now smaller in this one. So you are like mentioning the things that are in this one and talking about how it was in the other one and how it is in this one now. Previously, there was a bathtub here, but there's no bathtub in this one. Rather, it's been merged with the bath area and the bedroom has increased in size. Previously, some of the windows on this side, you can mention them, are now bigger or smaller, depending on the changes that has occurred in this present one. Do we understand this, class? If you don't understand, I don't mind, I'll go over it again. Who does not understand? I'm glad it's the new people or the ones that were not consistent that are not understanding. It means that what we have been doing while you were not here, the people here have been understanding. So it means that if you join us and you continue or you go back to the previous ones, you will understand eventually. That's what it means to me as a teacher. If it was the people that have been coming every day or every time or more often that are complaining, I would say, okay, maybe there's something wrong with the explanation. Now, for those of you that are just coming in, Suleiman Nasir, please, we usually have our videos on. Thank you very much for joining the class. If you put your video on, that will really, really be great. Writing task 1 is what we have been discussing, confidence and informal. Writing task 1 is what we have been discussing, and there are many or different types of tasks that you can find in writing task 1. We have talked about the fact that in your writing task generally, there's what we call the band descriptors. These band descriptors are the basis for which you are rated and given your band score. There are 4 of them, and we have discussed them extensively, and we usually make reference to them at the beginning of every class. That is because the information contained in these band descriptors are what we are looking out for to give to the examiners so we can score our band. Now, there's a structure for the writing task. We answer these questions based on the structure. The information contained in this structure is determined by the kind of question that you are given. If, for instance, you are given a graph, the kind of info you will give me in your paragraphs 2 and 3 is different from what you will give me in a map. If, for instance, you have been asked to compare and contrast, the type of information or the words that you will use is different from what you will use to describe if you were to describe changes that have occurred. For instance, we are discussing changes that have occurred now. We're not comparing or we're not writing about graph. I did mention in all our classes previously that whatever task you are given, there are specific things, specific words, specific phrases, okay? Specific things you're expected to mention, which happen to be your cohesive devices. These cohesive devices are very, very important because they give clarity to the work that you are doing, to your report that you're writing. For example, talking about a graph, where there are changes, you're talking about fluctuations and oscillations that have occurred. Talking about a graph, you are discussing the declines, okay? You are discussing the climbs, you are discussing the increases, the decreases, whether it was a sudden change, whether it was a dramatic change, whether it is significant enough for you to mention. Those are the words that you are going to be using. If you're talking about a process map, for example, where you are discussing maybe the production of a particular item, like we saw in one of our classes about how noodles is made, there are processes, okay, from process 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. What we do is that there are words that is related, or that are related rather, to the description of processes. When you're talking about processes, like stages, like phases, okay, like if you're starting a statement for a process graph, you can say the first stage, the first phase, beginning this process is, those are the phrases you're going to be using. Those are the words you are going to be using. Then you're discussing the next ones. You're saying the next stage is, the next phase is, consequently, subsequently. Those are the things you're going to be using for your description. Now, if you have things like a map, if you're given a map, for example, we did mention that it's very, very important for you to be on the lookout for your compass. You will find a compass at the top right or top left or bottom right or bottom left of your question paper on the diagram, where they had written north, south, east, and west. All right. You are going to be discussing your map using those things, the location. If you have something that there's no map, like we are discussing this particular one and there's no compass, sorry, you will use top, bottom, center, top right, top left, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left, center. Those are what you're going to be saying. Those are the words that are going to be describing your map or your diagram with. That's the reason why you don't understand. But I do hope that you will understand henceforth. If you have difficulty, you will go to the YouTube channel, okay? For those of us that usually have free megabytes, if you go to the YouTube channel, you, in the middle of the night, like when I was back home, I used to have some megabytes that you can only use at night, and I don't use them. So if you have those megabytes that you can only use at night, the data, what I will advise that you do is in the middle of the night or anytime before that 5 a.m., go to YouTube, click on this video. You can download the video. You will now download the video and it will be in your YouTube downloads. All you need to do is to go there and watch. You can actually watch them offline, not using your data again. Okay? And if you have someone else that have that kind of data, maybe your husband, your brother or sister, use it to download those things. Share their data, hotspots, Wi-Fi, and download those things so that you can watch them later. All right? Because if you watch them actually, to bring you up a little bit to where we are, and then we can all run together. Do you understand? If Unanya and Ifoma, can we run now?
Yes, ma.
Okay. Can we go? I'm just, if you do you understand now what we are doing here?
Yes,
and do you
ma.
understand how we got to that stage where we are now?
Yes, ma.
Okay. So why you don't just jump in and then you don't understand it because you don't have that background knowledge. Now that you have background knowledge, it makes it much more better. So I was saying that when you have done your overall statement, okay, you now have a logical point, then you divide this into two. Remember, I said this also for your process graph. I said it for your map. Get a start point, a logical start point. I chose the entry because there's entry on both sides and it is in the middle. Okay, you get a logical start point. Select which information you want to discuss in one paragraph and in the other paragraph. If possible, write them down small on your sheet of paper, so that you don't leave out any information at all. Are we clear? We have finished discussing this particular one. Are we clear? How many people took a screenshot? Write it and send it.
Okay.
Yeah? Write it and send it. If you didn't get a screenshot, ask for the screenshot on the Telegram group. One of them can send it to the Telegram group and you download it from there. You can go ahead and write it. Write and let's see. How many people are here to get their corrections for the tax 2 writings? Feedback, correction. Not second correction, the first one. Maureen. Maureen, do you realize that you are upside down? Eh? Or you like it like that, so that your head will be hanging down? It's fine, it's technology. Some of these things are just the way they are. Any question, generally? Any question in this class? I don't mean those that are coming for the first time today and you don't understand, or you are coming for the first time and you even joined late. You may not really understand. Really, it's logical, isn't it? It's logical. But the one you have watched, the one you have heard, do you have any question there? If you have any question, just raise your hand. We'll unmute you and then you can ask your question. Yes, please. Informer. Click on the front. There's an info here. Check your screen. Click on it. Ask your question. I've unmuted you. You unmute. You can go ahead now and click on it. I've unmuted you. Informer, listen. I unmuted you now. See on your screen, you will see permission to unmute. Click on it. Oh, okay. Now talk. We still can't hear you. Can anybody hear her? Or is it me? We can't hear you. Can you type your question as chat? Just go to chat and type your question. Any other question? Is anybody having any question? Okay. Maureen.
But please, I don't know how to send in my own feedback.
How? I don't understand.
After, like, he gave a task now that we should go and write on it. I don't know how to send it.
Overseeing nurses IELTS@gmail.com is
Okay.
the address. The email address is on the Telegram group.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Yep. Amaka.
Okay, it's a general question. I spoke with a friend of mine in Port Harcourt that has written IELTS and she was supposed to travel. So I was asking her, I was taking time for her to relocate. She now said that, I don't know if it's the agent or I don't know, that they said that the number of nurses needed, that UK is no longer collecting nurses for now. I don't know how through, when I heard it, I got scared. I don't know how through the rumor is or the claim. I just want to hear from you, ma, if it's true or if it's just a rumor.
This is the 7th of that question I'm getting in 48 hours. You know, in Nigeria, bad news travel a lot. It travels faster than good news.
Yes, ma'am.
We have been doing this class for some months. Throughout the lockdown, I was shielding because I'm high risk. I was exposed to a COVID patient and all of that. The COVID we have in Nigeria is not the type that is here. So I'm talking about COVID-19 here. And I was at home all through and I was doing these lessons. Since that time, I've been doing one-on-one and now personal. But the thing I've been doing since February, March, not half of nurses have heard it in Nigeria, even with all the adverts on Facebook. I'm talking about the one that can benefit us, the one I know of, my own effort. They have not heard it. But the news that somebody sat down and concluded on his own, because it's a bad news, and wrote on his social media platform, has taken over everywhere. Every nursing group, they have posted it. And the worst thing is we are reposting it instead of killing it. Many people are not getting the right information. That's the worst problem that we have. They are not stopping recruitment. For example, my hospital where I work presently, there is vacancy for nurses. If you go to my hospital website now as we speak, I can start searching it and I will send you screenshots that they need nurses, band 5 nurses, band 6, band 7. If you go to this website of this hospital, the hospitals, and you apply there, they contact you and they start. Let me tell you something. Nigeria is listed as underdeveloped country. Worldwide, there's a rule not to exploit underdeveloped countries. Because Nigeria is fastly deteriorating in terms of economy, it's now a danger zone and it is now prosecutable for anybody to go there and do what they call brain drain. The employers have decided not to use agencies. They have decided that if an individual applies for a job and does things in his or her own way, it means that it is that person that decides to leave his or her country and not an agency coercing them to leave because they are making money from their living. I have friends. I have a friend who has done everything since last year. We're waiting. She's supposed to have come here around February, March, but the lockdown started and she could not get her COS. I know people who have COS, but they can't travel because of our visa centers. I beg, if the visa centers no gree capture you for UK to give you visa, how is it UK's fault? They can't force Nigeria to open their borders. And so people who have gone through the processes and they have direct decision letter, some have COS, they are all waiting. And the next thing is, I have COS since 2019 December, since January 2020, I have not moved. The UK is no longer employing. It's a lie. They're employing. See, these people are very, very wise. They are codedly doing their things. And if you too, you are wise like them, you will make it. If they are no longer employing, why are they conducting their IELTS exams? If they are no longer employing, why is the NMC doing CBT exams? If they are no longer employing, why are they still arranging for OSCE classes for people to write OSCE? Why? Because they want your money? The agencies are confusing many of us. Because the agencies, because of the decisions the government is making, even the agencies are losing jobs with the government because they can no longer bring in people where they now earn money. And so they give you the wrong information. Let me tell you, your processing to come to the United Kingdom from A to Z, you can do it without you paying money to anybody. And that's the reason why I decided to partner with overseas nurses. That's why I'm there. Nobody's charging anybody for anything. It will take time, but if you are patient to follow the processes, it's better for you because at the end of the day, it's much more beneficial. than you rushing to pay one agency who will bring you here, and you will remain for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. You have not written your OSCE exam. So you are working as healthcare assistant. And the work is heavy as a healthcare assistant in this country. The work is heavy. I went to work on Friday, long day, and in the ward where it was a bank shift, the shift I booked, like an overtime shift, I was off, so I decided to go and work. And where I booked, fortunately and unfortunately, they had enough staff, so they had to move me to another ward where there were no staff. And in that ward, they had nurses, but they didn't have healthcare assistants. So I went to work as a nurse, as healthcare assistant. I'm a nurse, but I was doing on that shift for that time, I was working as a healthcare assistant. And when I came back home, I said to myself, if I knew, I would have canceled the shift. I would have just slept on my bed, wake up in the morning and drink tea, then prepare for my class on Saturday. The work is heavy as healthcare assistants, especially when you don't know when you will come out of it. If in the few months that you are waiting for your RN exam, your nursing council exam, you are doing it, you know, my people say, visitor where you know the day where you go, in matter, no go give you heartache, because anyhow, you say, shebi you go, shebi you go. So anyhow you suffer or you are stressed as HCA, you say, shebi I will soon write my OSCE, I will soon leave that stage, I will soon move forward, I will soon upgrade. But when you don't know when you are leaving, you are in trouble. So you people need to shine your eyes. In as much as Nigeria things are deteriorating and you want to run away, you want to run quickly. No be today you hear about OSCE and IELTS and CBT now. So no be today you go run. If to say you want run today, you for don't start them since. As you just start them, so you go bend your head well, finish the process to the end. Don't do shortcuts. Don't go and follow one agency that will promise you that will bring you despite all. At the end of the day, some apply for you with false documents and you are denied visa. Be very careful as nurses. Nurses are very useful in this country. They value them, they pay them, and they use them. Yes, they are using us, but they are paying us. They are using us in our country and they are not paying us as well. So please, the agencies are confusing some, not all agencies, I must say. Some agencies or some individuals, let me say that, are confusing some people. Nobody has stopped employing. But see, there's a backlog of people with COS, people with decision letters, people who have been employed, people who have everything done, but they can't fly in. For instance, presently, there are people who have booked their flights and missed their flights because of our own internal rules in Nigeria. They say they must do COVID test. They will upload it in one place. And the system will not allow you to upload it because there's always no network. And the COVID test that you have done, if you have not uploaded after 48 or 72 hours, it expires, they will no longer take it. And if they don't take it, you won't meet up with your flight. And if you don't meet up with your flight, you lose your money. And you remain back there because they are subtly working against us. So it's not about UK's fault. I've told someone this morning, early hours, that no, they are employing. If you want to employ for a job, once you pass your IELTS and all of that, you let us know. We'll tell you what to do. We'll tell you who to follow. We'll tell you where to upload your documents. It's easier and it's better and it's safer. So no, they are still employing. But because we are now like a third world war country, Nigeria, we are rated one of the poorest countries and the most dangerous places to raise children now. And people are afraid of us. And Trump is dealing with us very well. So we need to be very, very careful of the information that we assimilate. When they tell you, say, oh, okay, oh, no, wow, you go your way. Don't let it enter your heart, not to talk of circulating to your brain. Okay? The UK is still employing. Other countries are employing. There are many places, they are looking for nurses everywhere. They are looking for nurses. But You need to be patient with them. That's why I encourage you to continue with your own processes, because by the time you write your exam and pass, do CBT, do all that is backlogged now would have cleared up, so that if you are writing exam this year, towards the end of this year, you should be looking at coming or relocating maybe around July, August next year. And between now and then, all the issues would have been resolved, and you can see that things will speed up. Yeah? So stop bothering yourself about that. Face your exams, write your exam.
Thank you,
Pass your
ma'am.
exam. You're welcome. Any other question? This question has answered many people's whatever I know, and we are going to tell others. Okay? All right. Any other question concerning the class? So do this task, the ones that we've done in class, do it and send it. I think we have one more thing to do, and then we end the lesson on writing task, writing task 1. Looks like we have one more type of task to do. One more. Okay, let's see. We have done line graph. We have done table. We will do a pie chart. All right. Just before I round up, I just want you to have your writing pad with you. I'll give you this information. And then it's generally for all the writing tasks, for all of them. Now, when you have your writing task and you have to report, I'm talking about the phrases, your vocabulary generally for the writing task 1. You can report your statement. If you want to describe a general trend, you can say, from the data, it is evident that maybe majority, minority, half of the people, lesser percentage of, okay? You can use that as your general trend when you want to discuss a trend or a change or something that has happened. If you want to talk about trends, like striking feature, for instance, you want to talk about the most prominent ones, you can say the striking feature of the chart is that, the most prominent feature of the task is, the most noticeable characteristic of the chart is. Now, when you have like 2 variables and one thing is appearing 3 or 4 times, that could happen to be the most frequently occurring. You can use that as well. The most frequently occurring data or percentage or number or amount, you can use that. Now, when you want to link words, you want to link for your coherence and cohesion, and you want to link your phrases, the things you can use as your linking phrases can be like, maybe you say initially, like you want to describe a graph, you want to start from the beginning, okay, of your graph, the description. Like when we had the male and females that smoked, initially, the number of females that smoked was so, okay, and then it increased to, or it decreased, or it fluctuated, or there was a dramatic change, or it significantly did what? Increased or decreased, okay? Did it peak? It peaked at what point did it peak? And you are reporting, you are saying, according to the data collected, or according to the data given, or you can say things like, maybe most noteworthy is the fact that, all right, or more specifically, from the point of view, or from this data, or from the information, when you want to contrast or you want to compare things, you can say things like in direct contrast or in stark contrast. Stark contrast is when something is stark naked, as in is opened, S-T-A-R-K, all right? You use words like however, although, but, okay, when you have a table and you have to discuss a table, for example, you can say like for your general trend for the table, you can say maybe the tabular numeric data that is presented shows, or the rows show information about, or the columns give an information, or it shows the data, or it shows the info concerning, you can use all of those. when you have a pie chart, for example, you can say the pie chart, you can use the word graph for a pie chart, okay, reveals the data concerning or shows the sector of the graph or does this or explains, yeah, or explains or illustrates or portrays or reveals or represents. Same thing for the bar chart, and then similar for the line chart as well. But for the line chart where we have the vertical and the horizontal, you need to talk about what the horizontal represents and what the vertical represents as well. So you can say something like the vertical axis represents, or the horizontal axis shows, or the vertical axis reveals, okay, or it gives information about. Now, when you have a map and you are to describe a map from the beginning of your statement about a map, it should be either the given map is an illustration, or it illustrates, or it shows, it portrays. Okay? So, when you are describing something, like we just did one of them, we can say just over the kitchen is the meal area, or just below the meal area is the kitchen. Okay? Or just under, when you are describing a map, or well under, or just over, well over, you can use roughly, nearly, close to, adjacent, approximately, just around, about the area of. All right. And then when you have, maybe you have similar information to describe, you can use the word similarly. We all know that one. Or likewise, or at the same rate as, or by the same token. You can use all of those words. If you have information that differs, you can say things like it differs from, or dissimilarly, 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 or unlike, or different from. Okay. Now, I told us when we were talking about graphs, talking about maps generally, and we're discussing about the sizes, that maybe the size of a particular thing has shifted, it has decreased or increased. If it increases, you can say it doubled, or it's now twofold, or it increased 2 times. If it tripled, you can say it triple, treble, threefold, or increased 3 times. All right. And then 6-fold, you can have, quadruple, you can have 4 times, and all that, depending on the increase that you can see. If it has decreased, you can say it's now a half of, or decreased by half, if it's a 1/3, or by a third, 1/4 or a quarter, 1/5 or 1/10, depending on the size that it has increased or reduced to. If you are describing time, like we saw in that question, over time, over the period, during the period in question, during the first period, prior to this time, a decade earlier, that's for something that happened in 10 years back, or like the one we just saw that it was 6 months, you can say 6 months ago, or about half a year earlier, okay, in the latter half of a year, or in the last quarter of the year, if it was like 4 months ago. Remember that your writing task 1, a good write-up in writing task 1 goes a long way to determine how much you will score in your writing task 2, your writing task generally. This is because even though writing task 1 is not responsible for half of the mark, whatever you score from your writing task 2, if you are able to add the little you scored in your writing task 1 to it, that will give you a score that is able to give you the band that you require. I'm leaving you with an assignment. Now take a screenshot of this assignment, everybody. I need to share my screen. This assignment, everyone, take a screen grab. And that is the end of writing task 1, really. Have you taken the shot? Who has not taken the shot? Screen grab, somebody that can take it, you can also send it to the group. Take it and send it to the group, please, so others can copy from there. Okay? Can I stop share now? We need to end the class. Yes, any questions so far? No question. I've come to the end of this class. Please go to the YouTube channel and watch. Tell those that you think they need it. Remember to subscribe, okay? Subscribe, click on the bell button. That way you get notification if we have any video that is coming up. Next class will be speaking and listening. Saturday. We're going to do tips on speaking and listening. And get ready, because all of you are going to speak in the course of the class. You will all have a flow. So if you like run away, don't join the class. Christiana, you will join the class. Please, let's do some practices, okay? Next class is speaking and listening. We will start with speaking so that whatever time we get, we can do listening. If not, we leave it. Listening is basically you. Speaking is basically you. But I want you to build some form of confidence in yourself. I want you to know how to answer questions, how to answer the question. It's not just about being bold. You can be bold and be saying the wrong things, and the examiner will boldly mark you wrong. So yes, we will do some practices by, is it next week? Is this week? Oh, it's on Saturday. On Saturday. So I'll see you in the next class. If there's no other question, I'm still Joy Agagwu, and I'm your IELTS tutor for overseas nurses. Have a great day. I'm going to sleep. I'm not working today. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.